Please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic?
Very good. Just what I wanted. Damn. I love it.
Hello everyone, welcome to the exhibition of stupid people. Today we're going to start with Logan Paul, who's doing really well for himself of late. Whether it be with Prime signing exclusive deals with the likes of the WWE, or whether it be the simple fact he's not Jake Paul. He's doing pretty well so far. He has decided though, all good things have to come to an end. Courtesy of a 47-page document served to Coffeezilla, Logan Paul is suing him for defamation because he labelled Logan Paul's Crypto Zoo game a scam, which is what it was. Quote, plaintiff Logan Paul, a globally recognized entertainer, athlete and entrepreneur, brings this defamation case against defendant Coffeezilla, a self-described investigative journalist and internet detective with no actual journalism training or a private investigator's license, to hold him accountable for maliciously and repeatedly publishing false statements, accusing Paul of operating a scam in connection with a troubled blockchain project called Crypto Zoo. How many people got their money back, Logan? Because it was a bit of a weird one, wasn't it? By the way, using the appeal to authority as a way of dismissing one's ability, or trying to downplay whether someone was correct or not. Now that's interesting. Basically what I mean is, because he's not a licensed detective or journalist, his words therefore carry no merit, and him calling himself that is an inaccurate description of what he really is. I think the same can be said for someone who thinks they're an athlete when they lost virtually everything they've ever done, or an entertainer when your best hits was 6 seconds long. So I would be a little bit careful when trying to downplay whether someone is correct or not. Don't forget here, you, Logan Paul, subscribed to his Coffeezilla's Patreon. You advertised it on your main channel, said you admired his work ethic and creativity. Fam, you introduced a buyback program because of how badly this went. The defamation suit is seeking $75,000 in compensatory damages to his brand and reputation, as well as the toll these events took on his mental health. Yes, well, nothing screams of poor mental health more than turning a collection of Game Boys into a table and hiding in Costa Rica to reduce your tax bill. Right now, Logan Paul is doing exceptionally well in the WWE. This is an afterthought, surely for him. And he had indicated he would let bygones be bygone, but apparently for Logan Paul, that is not the case. He can't let this go. The thing is, Coffeezilla managed to prove that Crypto Zoo was a scam. He proved it. And then the buyback scheme you introduced was also a scam because it didn't do what it was meant to do. And it didn't cover the vast amounts of money people lost on your scam. So as far as I'm concerned, this should be thrown out. You're trying to play a few rather crappy cards to drive your point home, but the credibility of the work Coffeezilla has done over the years cements his position regardless of a lack of license or authority in position. No real journalism, guys. Yet, no level of irony, Logan Paul doesn't understand new media means new ways of being the occupation you say you are. The internet is one of those places, but then again, I'm not surprised as well. When you tried to smack talk LA Knight on Twitter, you tagged the wrong guy, something which LA Knight flayed you for. How can you, a social media influencer, not understand the nature of the social media and online space as it changes and adapts with the job marketplace? The internet gave you your career anyway, even after you went to Suicide Forest.
Chicken leg right into our chocolate powder. Thick piece of bacon, wrap that up. There is nothing you can't put on chicken.
There are times in my life when I question why we allow America to continue existing as a nation. This is one of those times where I feel an exterminatus applicable. To the next subject, we're going to talk about Spotify. Oddly, I use Spotify a lot. I use it because of the convenience of simply turning it on my phone and going for a walk or going to the gym. Recently, Daniel Ek has been making a number of statements that he really shouldn't have made concerning creativeness. Last month he annoyed many of the musicians that use this by saying that the cost of creating content is close to zero. The context for that comment was that he was pondering the concept of long shelf life versus short shelf life, saying today with the cost of creating content being close to zero, people can share an incredible amount of content. These are quite inflammatory comments, and many musicians, rightfully, are angry at him. Daniel Ek is a multi-billionaire. He has profited from artists massively. Recently they've banned Russian artists that support Russia against Ukraine. Other artists have decided they might consider removing their stuff anyway. One would include the DJ and producer deadmau5, who shared via Instagram the article Spotify CEO claims the cost of creating content is close to zero by saying, "This is incorrect. The cost of creating content was 25 plus years of my life and much of those proceeds going to your company and you complete effing idiot." In response to users who commented on his post, he said, "We hate Spotify so much." He said, "I feel that. I'm about to pull my catalogue from these effing vultures. Enough is enough." And I'll be honest, to impact meaningful change, you do actually have to boycott. Kind of like the Bud Light thing, but better. Spotify does not pay its artists enough. It claimed that it was upping the fee for the subscription of it, whilst introducing a basic version that got rid of audiobooks. The thing is, by doing what you're doing with the basic, then you are hurting the audio book, that is, right? The audio quality is not as good as it could be. Neil Young was in fact correct. Although his boycott was for another reason, let's just go with that, it's obvious enough. We should however go back to the comment Daniel Ek had made, close to zero as a cost of creating content. Now there is a point there where you can in fact just sit in your office and make your music. However, to be able to do that, as deadmau5 has pointed out, you are giving up much of your life to be able to create. That is time. Time is money. You want to make sure your music gets out there and you are rewarded for it. Unless you're the type to believe that your music should just be everywhere, free for all anyway. But let's face it here, people have bills to pay. And if you want to be a professional musician, you don't want your music stolen. If you've given people the rights to just play it anywhere, that's completely different. You own your music. Record labels own so much these days, and many performers don't get money from the streaming anyway. So who actually benefits? It's not the artist. We know that for a fact. Unless they sell their catalogue or have it in their contract, they get money from the streaming. But based on how many millions of listens you need to actually make any money anyway, it's kinda pointless. The cost of creating content in all walks of life is never zero. Hell, to be a YouTuber, it costs a fair amount as well. Whether you're on camera or not, you are still investing money into it for whatever style of content you make. To make music, it is the same. I was half tempted to grab a guitar and prove my point, but then I realized I'm not on camera. It would be a redundant point. Daniel Ek is out of touch while profiting massively from those who actually create the content that give his platform meaning. I can understand why many would instead go to alternative streaming platforms instead, or desire to pull their music from your platform in the first place. I'm going to insert a Twitter thread here. I would have saved it for this week at Twitter, but that series is pretty much dead at the moment. We're going to start with Lesra Gomez, who said, "I find it crazy how Cowboy Stu calls everyone under the sun a fat ass, but doesn't want to acknowledge the fact he's the #1 consumer of Ozempic. Lesra is a 1 and 2 fighter. How exciting. Congratulations on getting in the ring at least 3 times. This was seen by Fangs, who had said, honestly, for your health, you should try Ozempic. I'm just going to say to those, unless you genuinely need it, please don't take Ozempic. Take Papa Swolio's advice and go to the gym. Lesra replied, you're 60. Fangs, you need to lose 60 pounds. Lesra, you need to stop getting beat up in front of your kids. Fang, you need to not look like you're about to have triplet kids. Lesra, failed influencer, failed OnlyFans model, failed boxer. What kind of negative impact would this have on your kids, realizing they're from a bloodline of losers? Fun fact here though, really, is that Fangs did peak, Fangs did plateau, Fangs did decline on YouTube. Fangs made a second channel with reactions for a while. I don't know if they still use it, but I know they did reasonably well from YouTube. They must have, from the millions of views they got and the collaborations they also did with the likes of the Sidemen and other FIFA gamers. FIFA was a very lucrative market for quite a number of years. I know that Fangs has been promoting her OnlyFans from time to time. Not my business really, but I know that can be quite lucrative as well. And failed boxer, you have a 1-2 record. You're hardly the right person to be criticizing another person's record. Now, Fangs did reply to this by saying, made millions on YouTube and am still the most subscribed female sports gamer. Make millions on OnlyFans in the top 0.26%. Contracted by the biggest crossover boxing group, also made millions on streaming contracts and was a top 50 streamer on Twitch. All money went to their college funds and future homes. So she's made her bread and guaranteed her children, however many she has, are secure. Isn't that the only motivation you really need? Someone did try and argue that she wasn't a top 50 streamer, and she pointed out in 2016, at one point she held 40,000 concurrent viewers when she usually had 5 to 10,000. 40,000 concurrent viewers definitely puts you in the top 50 at that time. The fun thing really is Lesrev wasn't done, and instead started to share videos of Fangs getting knocked out in a boxing ring, with Fangs pointing out that there's context to this and that she did in fact start fairly strong, and that back of the head punches were why she was knocked down. If that is true, I have not seen this fight, then that is of course not great. My interest really in this interaction, this discourse, is that it only started because Lesra dunked on one person, somebody replied to them, and they just went ham on each other, and I love that. It's quite toxic really, but I like showing how people can take an L, and I'll let you all decide who took the L in this, because there's a fair amount. Before we get to the final subject, which is going to have some videos in it, honourable mention to Hannah Ingram Moore. We have covered her within this series multiple times. She and her husband have been disqualified from being charity trustees by the Charity Commission. This came at the conclusion of a statutory investigation by the Watchdog into the Captain Tom Foundation. It was launched just over 2 years ago. The Commission inquiry was launched over concerns about its management and independence from Sir Tom's family. In March of 2021, Hannah Ingram Moore stepped down to become its interim CEO. Concerns grew over money earned by two companies controlled by her and her husband, called Club Nook Limited and Matrix Group. Yes, Maytrix. Matrix. They had been disqualified for 10 years and 8 years respectively due to misconduct or mismanagement. What a shame. And nothing of sodding value was lost. To the final subject, we're going to go to Neon, N3ON, because somebody's a little bitch and they got found out for it. I was going to include some clips of IShowSpeed Speed and a separate incident in Norway, but I decided I couldn't be asked for all the copyright claims.
When you do get knocked out, are you going to retire?
Who said that? So I know who you are.
Or
that little bitch boy, you f***ing pussy.
If you do. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be watching. I'm excited to see both sides, but
I'm gonna kick you in your f***ing leg.
What I really love about that press conference isn't Nate Diaz's responses, which are hilarious. It's that Neon is stood next to one of the greatest boxers of all time, Shane Mosley. I feel bad for Shane being next to him, not because of guilt by association. I'm sure Nate Diaz knows exactly who Shane Mosley is, but just because Shane Mosley deserves to be treated with a bit more respect than to be stood next to that geek. Now, this did not end well for Neon. I'll show you how.
I'm sorry. Please, I'm sorry!
You know, usually I don't believe in the concept of heaven, but with that lighting, I'm starting to believe that might have been where Neon ended up. Of course, I don't condone violence of any kind. I really don't. And I really hope that their only intention was to drag him back to Nate Diaz so Nate Diaz could kick him in the leg and of course have Neon say sorry to him. By the way, a kick to the leg from a mixed martial artist is a level of pain I wouldn't wish on many people. I'm not sure if Neon qualifies for that level of sympathy though, so we're going to leave that open to interpretation. Now, as a final thing, in the United Kingdom today it is our general election. There will be a changing of the guard and Labour will more than likely win by landslide. What happens to the opposition I'm not entirely sure. As long as the UK does not rejoin the EU, I don't actually care too much. But I also know on the same day, I believe July the 4th is Freedom Day for others. Congratulations to you as well. My earlier comments about Exterminatus are still applicable here though. Hope to see you on Twitch later though. Ta-ta all.